few minutes before close, so we'll watch the close happen. Inside bar of this candle, of this last candle on Ethereum, and on Bitcoin, that short that we put here triggered the short off of the inside bar, off of this bar here, which was kind of the, this is your low 2, here's your low 1, this is your low 2, and then this is the inside bar off of the low 2, which I guess gives you an opportunity to tighten your stop, but since it's pretty much almost the same, you don't really have to tighten the stop. It just gives you a better opportunity to get a better price by just, I guess, about 20 bucks. So this has started to kind of trigger. Unless bulls are able to just run it back up here in the next couple minutes, I don't really expect the selling to necessarily stop. Maybe the next bar can break above this, and then at this point it's four consecutive bear candles, so I kind of just don't like the look of that if I was to buy. And these three are kind of dojis and kind of maybe barbed wiry. I wouldn't expect that a buy produces much of a consistent profit. So probably not looking to long this right here. And Ethereum's kind of been doing the same thing, big swingy bars, emotional bars relative to what Bitcoin is doing, although Bitcoin has been kind of slowly and steadily churning itself lower and lower and lower. But this is quite interesting that, let me actually go to this one here. This bar closed above this bar, this bar tapped above this bar rather. It also closed above this close, but this bar tapped above this bar, had a dump, this bar tapped above this bar, had a dump, and currently, not on this exchange, but on some of the other exchanges, we're already above it. So it's a little bit interesting that bulls are putting up so much of a fight. I suppose kind of coiling this range a little bit. Small, tight range that's slowly and steadily moving downward. So maybe we just kind of bounce off of this and go and continue downward. Maybe you call it 1, 2, 3 pushes down and we start pushing upward. But even if we do start pushing upward, this is just too tight of a range. Not really interested in buying above here unless we had kind of a better trap. I wouldn't say this is a particularly great trap. It's just a couple sellers out in the open here and barely broke outside of the range, so most are probably still in longs here. Anybody that's longed in this region, like if you longed here, you're probably still in it here. You probably have your stop like down here. So I don't really like this as a trap necessarily to start pushing upward. And of course the hourly candles are just looking worse and worse and worse by the minute. And this one is starting to expand a little bit, so wouldn't be surprised to see a big red candle just come down here, like on the next bar. Oh, there it goes, it's begun. Ethereum got a little bit of a better close, it looks like. But still, look at all this. Too much doji work. I guess I don't need that. Doji. This is totally overlapping all of these bars. This is very clear barbed wire situation. So just not interested in, and the bars are too swingy. Really not interested in this range to be taking along. And frankly, not really interested in taking a short either right now on Ethereum. Probably Bitcoin is just the better play at the moment. And just a little bit clearer. On this 15-minute chart, let me just delete this now. Well, the point of this is the short. entry, right? Now we were talking about this actually earlier. We had the high one, was this the high one? And then the high two was right here. And then of this high two, we had a pullback with the high one, high two. Within this pullback, we had this high one that we called, and then this is what we said was the high two. But this ended up being disrespected. So this is actually now the high three of the pullback. No. Yeah. Did this breach the low 62,214, 204? So I guess maybe technically this becomes your high three and this is your high four. Kind of don't like it, but it's somewhat reasonable just because we don't have much room to continue lower. Like, this is all you have before this ends. So technically this is your high four. Could take a long like this with the stop right here and a TP up higher, which would probably cause this to make a little bit of a run as well. Let's see the 4 hour. Yeah. Let's take a look at the 4 hour. I mean, it's actually starting to look kind of decent. Maybe I would just want to real quick. Still kind of barbed wiry though here. Could just be an opening, daily open trap, as we often tend to do. But wow, this is already up here. Back to the top of this range, this channel. That was actually kind of strong here by Ethereum. And of course, really strong by the bears. Oh my God! See, this is that nasty stuff they do to open the daily candles. Okay, so 4 hour. 4 hour, we put in an inside bar. Not a great buy signal inside bar. Better sell signal inside bar. But we don't really like to sell inside bars like this, so we might want to wait for a like a bear trend bar to come out of it, and then possibly look for a pullback or just short underneath it. The only reason I wouldn't think that we're going to short underneath it is because this is so strong. This is still so strong, and more importantly, this move was so strong that it's very possible that you just get a 2-bar pullback and then the next bar starts pushing up ahead of it. So maybe you wouldn't want to. I guess that's the reason why you would probably want to enter on the break of this inside bar instead of waiting for this to print a bar. Because then you have to wait like 8 hours for some sort of resolution. And if this bar comes all the way down here and then the next bar comes all the way down here, or or comes all the way back up here, you never know. So that 4 hour, and let's see the Ethereum 4 hour as well. The Ethereum 4 hour candle inside bar as well, but this is a green inside bar. I guess decent-ish buy signal. If we break above it, we did break above it, but now we've already started to push back into the range. So maybe we wait for it to push back above again, and then it would be a buy above this 44.30, like 44.31, and your stop would be right here underneath this bar. Sometimes this happens where like you're supposed to take the trade at above this 44.26, but it just breaks out above and then comes back down, and then you decide, okay, now I know that the conviction off of this, which we were expecting to trigger a trade, we had that conviction to break above this, but then we didn't have the conviction to immediately continue. So if we do have the conviction to return to that level, it's likely that we'll continue upward. So as long as this doesn't clear the low of this right now, we can take this trade upward. Conversely, bears may be willing to trade the short here. on a break below this bar. Same deal, the stop on the other, on the other side of the bar. And this we're looking for a scalp because this trend has been very strong and it's the first breach of the trend line. So probably to like the other side of this range here that we kind of broke out above. We kind of broke out above it and then, deviation back into the range. Maybe to the other side of the range would be the target for bears. And then probably expecting, I think we've said this must be the 8th time today that I've said this, a test of the trend line, and then maybe we dip back into 4,000 range, or maybe we don't and we just go up. So that's how that one's looking. And how about the daily chart? Because the daily chart is a completely different look. The daily chart looks really nice and strong. Of course, we have the range that we're constantly talking about, the bigger range, right? Don't want to dip back into this range, but it's not unreasonable that we might. Especially if we start disrespecting the smaller ranges that we're talking about a little bit above. We're probably going to break back into at least kind of this high part. Maybe we don't break underneath this candle, but this is our all-time high candle. And I would think that if we break above it, we should probably continue upward, at least into 45, 4600 region, which I think would be good because even if we stalled there, it's probably better to start having some consolidation above this range for more upward continuation. I think it's more likely that we go up if we can consolidate maybe another level around here above the range, because if we kind of go like this, it's not going to be great. Once we get back into the range, nothing's stopping us from continuing down to the bottom of the range, and if we continue down to the bottom of the range, nothing's stopping us from re-entering these other ranges that we have here. Wouldn't be out of the question to retest this level, especially if it coincides a little bit here, maybe on like a weekly time frame. This is just a wick and the bodies are somewhere around here. So I don't think Ethereum's out of the woods. Definitely not out of the woods, especially with Bitcoin. But I do think Bitcoin looks like this is a really good close for Bitcoin. So if we break above this close today, I think, or above this high today, I think it's pretty reasonable to try and make a shot at 65. That would probably be the major trade that we would be looking for. So that's why I'm saying we're definitely in wanting to buy mode, looking for longs, not looking for shorts. Starting to see this triangular pattern try to make a move. You like when you see all of this, like 5, 6, 7 really, really small bars, and they are trending this way. But once you have this breakdown, this larger bar, and then we have another large bar and another large bar, this is definitely like a little bit of a trading range that we're seeing, but players are starting to be a little bit more aggressive and willing to make bigger bars. So once you start seeing these bigger bars starting to form, more likely that we're getting towards the end of this coil and maybe start to get some sort of resolution. And from this move, seems reasonable to try and get some resolution upward, but if you want to say one big leg up and then another big leg up, possibly all of this coiling leads to a downside breakout down towards this way instead of up. But even if we do go up, we have this spike and then the test of it, and then we kind of had this consolidation, then we broke out again, spike. You can maybe say that this is the test, and then now we have this consolidation that leads to maybe, in this case, lower prices. But you can maybe say this is the spike, and then we haven't really had the test yet, and we have the test, and then we can look for shorts. So kind of hard to say. Just really want to wait for some sort of resolution in this region to be confirmed. And think that's really all I have on this right now. It looks like we're just about to close up this. Oh, I thought the video is 15 minutes, but I started a little bit before. This is the outside down bar. If it becomes an outside up bar, I would think that you could put a buy in and put your stop underneath this low. I would think that would make sense. But if it doesn't close as an outside up bar, probably not. If it closes as an outside down bar like this, even if it's like a doji-esque thing, eh. Here, obviously, you'd like to see Ethereum close higher, but still, even if it does, this is a channel, possibly a wedge, which would be worse, right? But they're kind of almost the same thing. And we've also had 1, 2, 3 pushes up, so yeah. I will do the trades of the day next, I guess. Probably not right now, maybe in a few hours. I think I'm going to do the 5-minute chart today, and I'm going to try a little different kind of means than I did yesterday.